Hello everybody and welcome back to another Oscar prediction video, the penultimate Oscar prediction video of this year as a matter of fact, where I will be taking a look at the category of Best Actor in a Leading Role. So before I even get to Best Actor, I just want to point out, tomorrow I do the Best Picture video. And usually, by this point, I have some idea of what movie I'm going to predict as the Best Picture winner. And right now, as I'm recording this, I really don't know. This is a tight year. This is a really, really close competition. But let's put that off for tomorrow and focus on Best Actor, one of the major above-the-line categories that I also have no idea. This category is hard, and I'm surprised by how confident a lot of people seem to be in their predictions, because I am not confident at all. Before we really get into it, I will say the person who was considered the frontrunner for Best Actor has come under a lot of fire recently for some comments he made about opera and ballet. And a lot of people are under the impression that these comments are going to kill his Best Actor chances. However, these comments did not resurface until one day after Oscar voting already closed, which means these comments most likely are not going to have any impact in that discussion. So I genuinely don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to say something in this video, but this is really, really close, you guys. So let's dive into this category together, shall we? Fifth most likely to win is Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. So this is Ethan Hawke's third Oscar nomination. He was previously nominated in Supporting Actor for Training Day and Boyhood. So he is an actor who has been around a while. He is pretty beloved in the industry, given some great performances over the years in many Richard Linklater films, in the Before trilogy, in First Reformed, which he really should have been nominated for. And now here he is in maybe his most transformative work yet, playing the real-life person, Lorenz Hart, in a movie that is very much structured entirely around him. He gets so many big, long, verbose monologues, so he really does get to show off in this movie. And there was a time when some people wondered if the combination of the showy factor and him being overdue might make Hawke a potential spoiler to win Best Actor. And I don't think that's really the world we're living in anymore, because A, the movie was not nominated for Best Picture. It got a screenplay nomination, which is not nothing, but this is the only movie in the category to not have a Best Picture nomination, and maybe he could have recovered from that if he had won somewhere, if he had won one of the major televised precursors. But not only did he not do that, he didn't win that many critics' precursors either. So it really does seem like this is not a performance that people care about that much, and while Ethan Hawke is a respected, well-liked actor, there's no real urge to give him an Oscar right now. I think because the movie is not super well-liked. So, solid nomination, solid performance, but I do think he's an easy fifth place for me. Fourth most likely to win is Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another. So, this is an interesting situation because Leonardo DiCaprio, a previous Oscar winner, only person in this category who has already won, giving a pretty strong performance in One Battle After Another. It's not the showiest performance. It's not the type of thing that you would associate with being an Oscar-winning performance. It's a very, very comedic performance. It's funny, he is the protagonist, quote-unquote, but he's also kind of the comedic relief of the film. He's bumbling around, genuinely trying his very, very best to get to his daughter, but always being one step behind. And it's both funny and kind of sad. It's a very good performance. It works very well for what the film is trying to do. And the film is hugely, hugely beloved. One of the top two to win Best Picture, could still win. And there's a world where this movie has a very, very, very good night, and DiCaprio gets swept up in the love for that. It would be kind of funny considering how hard DiCaprio tried to win his first Oscar if he ends up winning his second Oscar while putting in no effort whatsoever. So a part of me can see that happen. But DiCaprio did not pick up any major precursors all season long. He has just sort of coasted with the movie, And I don't know, yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot of campaigning on behalf of himself. He's really just there to support the film. And this is a solid nomination, strong nomination. DiCaprio is always a very reliable actor, but I don't really feel like there's a ton of urgency to give him a second Oscar. And yeah, like Hawke, he hasn't won any notable precursors or even that many critics awards. Good performance, solid performance, but I don't see him any higher than fourth place. Third most likely to win is Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. So here's where things get interesting. Wagner Moura has a notable precursor. He has the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama, beating out another actor that I'll get to shortly. And he is pretty well beloved, kind of a name in the US because of Narcos and because of the voice of death and Puss in Boots. That's where I know him from. And he gives a very solid, very strong performance in the movie. It's not super showy. It is quiet. It is very intimate. But he does a really, really good job in the film. And can I just admit this, even though it's a little bit embarrassing, but the final scene of the movie when we flash forward and we show the son all grown up, I legitimately did not realize that the grown-up son was also Wagner Moura until the end credits. And maybe I'm just stupid, maybe I wasn't as dialed into the movie as a lot of people were, but I had been watching this actor for a majority of the film, so the fact that he really, really transformed himself and carried himself so differently as this other character is really, really commendable, even for just that brief scene. So this would not necessarily be an undeserving Best Actor win. It would be a bit of an unorthodox win. It is a very quiet performance, but Moura has been campaigning, and as I said before, he does have that notable precursor, the Globe. However, two things. Moura was not nominated at SAG or BAFTA, and both of those are pretty major losses. And also, as I've stated before, George Clooney in Syriana remains to this day the only person to just win a Golden Globe and go on to win an Oscar. It's very, very rare because there's no voter overlap between the Golden Globes and the Oscars. And that was in a supporting acting category. At the Oscars, Wagner Moura was up. He was not up against another person who was considered the frontrunner. We don't know how Moura would have performed against that other person, but yeah, I do get why a lot of people want this to happen. I do get why a lot of people are pushing for him, but Moura does seem to be in a very similar place to Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here last year, where I also ranked her third. Some people thought that she could pull off the upset, but I really don't think, I didn't think she could, and now I don't think he can with Wagner Moura. I do think Moura is in third place. I don't think it's impossible that he could pull off the upset because I do think the top two are really close, but I would not bet on it personally. Okay, here goes nothing. Second most likely to win is Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme. This is not easy for me to say because Chalamet, I do think, gives the best performance in the category. I do think he's really, really extraordinary in Marty Supreme. And he does have a lot on his side. He's won several Critics' Prizes. He's won Critics' Choice. He's won the Golden Globe. All signs do seem to be pointing to him. Then he lost BAFTA, but that was sort of like a fluke, I told myself, because the person who won BAFTA was Robert Aramayo, who is nowhere near the Oscar conversation this year. So I told myself, well, Chalamet was probably number two. But then SAG happened, and Chalamet also lost SAG. And my initial thought when that happened was, well, that doesn't matter, because Chalamet, he won SAG last year. So obviously they don't want to give it to him 2 years in a row. Maybe he's not a super, super strong frontrunner, but he's still the frontrunner, right? And the more time has passed since that SAG win, the more I'm thinking maybe it's not going to be Chalamet. And I'm trying really, really hard to not be swayed by Chalamet's comments that have resurfaced after voting has closed, because that should not impact things. But even before those comments came out, a lot of people were really, really not enjoying Chalamet's whole shtick. His shtick that is very, very similar to the character of the movie, which is, I'm the shit, I'm the greatest of all time, aren't I amazing? A lot of people still view Chalamet as a kid, even though he's 30. A lot of people still feel that he's very, very much high on his own supply, even though, like the character of Marty Mauser, Chalamet does have the talent to back up his ego. But that's the other thing, too. Chalamet is playing a character who is very unlikable, and in the movie, Chalamet's character does eventually grow as a person by the end, but Chalamet himself did not seem to take that lesson from Marty Mauser, which makes it really, really difficult. I think Chalamet just keeps putting his foot in his mouth, and a lot of people are not eager to reward him. And for a while, I sort of thought, well, give him the Oscar now, because if he loses, he's going to spend the next decade of his career really wearing you guys down as he tries so hard to get the Oscar like DiCaprio did. It's close. It's really, really close. I think a lot of people have written off that Chalamet can still win, but it is a very showy performance. It is a very good performance in a movie that is well-liked. It makes so much sense. I should go with Chalamet. But I'm not. Number one most likely to win is Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. So this is interesting. There was a point in time when I wasn't even sure Michael B. Jordan would get the nomination. And for a while, I thought Jordan was in like third or fourth place. Then SAG happened, and again, my initial response was, oh, this is just SAG wanting to do something different. This is not going to impact the Oscars. And yet, the more I thought about it, Jordan has a lot of supporters. And it's not just from people who love Sinners and are going to vote for Sinners in every category. I'm seeing in some of these anonymous ballots that there are people who voted for one battle for Best Picture, but still voted for Jordan, because Jordan is a well-respected actor. He's paid his dues, and I think the fact that Jordan is playing twins in this movie is continuously brought up. The fact that he plays those two different characters and he really differentiates between the two of them. And a lot of actors find that really, really commendable. And for the longest time, I was like, but it's still going to be Chalamet. It's still going to be Chalamet. It made so much sense to have it be Chalamet. And the more time passes, I've seen more and more people switch to Jordan, because Jordan has that SAG win and Chalamet has been facing a lot of controversy. And here's the thing. When it's a close race, there are two factors that I always like to fall back on. Factor number one is who is in the better liked movie. And in this case, it's obviously Jordan. Sinners is top 2 of the year, and Marty Supreme is not. And then the other question is, who is playing the more likable / sympathetic character? And again, that's obviously Jordan. Even when one of Jordan's characters becomes a vampire, he's still more likable than Chalamet. And a lot of people might not think about that, but I do think the likability of the character is a big, big factor in what makes people want to vote for you. And this bothers me, because I could so easily see it be Chalamet. And I do think people are a little bit counting their chickens before they hatch when they talk about, oh, Chalamet completely destroyed his Oscar chances with the comments about ballet, because those comments didn't come out until after voting had closed. But even without those comments, Chalamet did have a reputation that the movie was really, really not helping with. Jordan is really well liked, and the thing that bothers me is I'm like, but I'm also predicting Wunmi Mosaku to win for supporting actress. Does it feel a little bit weird to have Sinners winning more than one acting category, especially if I'm not sure it's going to win Best Picture? And Delroy Lindo could also potentially win? It does feel a little bit weird, but the more time passes, the more I think that Jordan has it. Jordan has the narrative. I think people are going to be more happy to see Jordan get up on that stage. I think the way Viola Davis reacted when she read Michael B. Jordan's name, I think that did wonders for his Oscar campaign. And so it's close. It's very, very, very close. But at the end of the day, I am going to go with Jordan. So thank you very much for watching, and tune in tomorrow when I will be making my final video for Best Picture. See you then.